Well, the package has arrived with the cork matting and a few other little bits and pieces, so I shall get this opened and I'll see you again shortly. Hello again and welcome back to another video in the R Model Railway series. Well, I've unpacked the box and got the cork matting and the other couple of pieces out. In the last video you saw that I had laid another couple of baseboards, and that's what I intend to do now, is to get the cork matting laid on those two baseboards so I can then start finalising some of the track that's running around there, a little bit of working out where the track plan is actually going to run to, and then all I need to do is do a couple of last baseboards, and then we should be able to get some trains running around, complete round in a complete circuit of the whole of the model, which will be helpful, I think, in terms of getting some of the trains running for a bit longer period. The other thing that I got while I was getting the cork matting was these, which are some umbral detail brushes in various sizes, and I thought those would help in terms of detailing some of the rest of the station, even just doing some of the brickwork, and I know I've managed to do it with the brushes I've currently got, but in particular the fine details around the windows. So what I'll do is I'll take these through next door to the workbench so we can crack on with that, and in the meantime I'll come back in here and lay some of the cork matting. Hello again and welcome back to the workbench. It is time to start painting Little Srawling Station. For those of you that watched the last video, you'll know that I did a test piece to trial it to see which one I preferred, and as I said in the last video, I did prefer the one without the black wash in between the brickwork. I'll just show you that for those of you that perhaps missed that video or are new to the channel, which one I'm going to paint, and then we'll crack straight on. So here's the test piece that we did. There were two halves to it, so this half has the black wash in between the bricks and has darkened the whole, or made the whole of it look a little bit darker. Here's the bit where I left it with just the light sandstone underneath, and that's the area that I prefer. The reason for that is it looks much closer to the walls that I'm using for the station, and also it's much closer to the, let's move that across a bit, it's much closer to the building that you will remember from one of the very early videos. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll just go through that now on the main station building. Well, here's the first piece we're going to do. It's one of the side panels that you can remember, and I'm going to be using the light stone, which is from Live Colour, and it's from the Stone Grey set. Those of you that watched the last video will have seen that set there. One of the things I'm planning to do is to just dilute a little bit of that down using the Tensichrome liquid, which should make it slightly lighter. So I'm going to probably do a 50-50 mix with that and see what that looks like. I didn't use that on the test piece, but I thought it might give some slight variation to the colour. So I'll just start doing that now. Well, that is the 4 sides done. I'll let those dry, probably overnight, although they normally dry within about an hour. But I'll leave them overnight and then maybe I'll look at them and give them another coat. All of the pieces now have had 24 hours to dry. I'm reasonably pleased with the way the outcome, although I do think some bits are still a little bit on the grey side, so it still hasn't quite got the lightness of colour that I was actually after in terms of the in-between colour that you can see in this side here. So what I'm going to do is just give it another very light coat with the light stone, let that dry, and then see what that looks like before I start thinking about painting on some of the stone colour over the top of it. So I shall do that now. Pieces. There on the top of the door that looks like it's missed. Shall let those dry again for another 24 hours. See how we go. Following that, I'm hoping that will be about the right colour for me to start to put some of the other colours back over the top. So yes, let's wait and see. Well, as I say, I'll give that 24 hours just to dry off, and we'll take another look at it once it has fully hardened or fully dried. With the patches now complete, it's time to start painting the individual bricks. I'm going to start with the green stone, and I tend to use the magnifying glass here just so I can pick out the individual bricks as best I can. So a little bit time consuming, but actually I quite enjoy this bit. It's quite relaxing, so I'll crack on with this. Well, I have completed all the paintings of all four sides of the main station building. What I'm in the process of doing now is just cutting the card backing for the plastic card just to give it a bit more strength. I'll just show you what the finished painting looks like. Well, here are the four sides. Here's the front and the rear of the building, which will be identical. I hope you can see those. All the painting is all completely finished. I used all of the stone brick colours. It doesn't look too bad in comparison to the wall effect that's on the platform and the small hut. And these are the two ends of the building. They are a little bit lighter, and I'll just explain how that's happened. I'm hoping that it doesn't look too different, but they are a little bit lighter in terms of the, I suppose, the mortar bit between the bricks than the side elements. And the reason for that is these aren't the two that I originally started painting. These are slightly different. Here's one of the ones that I originally started painting, and you can probably make it out here that although it's overall it's a paler colour, the actual backing is a different colour. And the reason that I had to change it was because I ended up painting the wrong side. So this is the front, this is the embossed brick side, and this is the bit where it's, I suppose, pushed through. It's here. I ended up painting the wrong side, and I'd glued the card bit onto the back. And of course I'd sprayed it wrong, so I had to start again. And when I needed to start again, I had no more of the matte Halford primer, so I ended up using some white primer. That was all I could get. I couldn't get any of the grey primer, so I could only get the white primer, and rather than delay it, I sprayed it with some white primer and then painted it as usual. And what that has done is it's made it very slightly lighter, because the grey seems to have darkened the light stone that I painted over the top of it. So that's why they're slightly different, but they are finished. And I think when I come to put it all together and I'll probably give these a little bit of a weathering, I think, or some weathering effect over the top, some weathering powders I'm thinking about trying. It should, I'm hoping it will darken it off. These have got the card fitted to the back, so those are done. And the other bits that I'm doing now is I'm doing the card, cutting out the card for the backs of these. And I believe this is that one, number one. I did mark them because they are very slightly different. And here is the piece that I'm doing for bit number two, and that's going to fit on there like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'll just finish cutting out the final window here, and then I will fix, or rather I'm not going to fix these directly to there because I need to put the windows in first. So that's what I shall do now, and while I'm doing that, why don't you go over and see how we're getting on in the main baseboard area, so the main track layout. Well, I've not progressed quite as quickly as I'd like to this month, and now we've just about run out of time. What I have done is I've laid the cork matting along this side, wired up one bit of track. The cork matting is still weighted down with some books. It's had a couple of days of drying. So what I think I will do before we leave you is just remove the various books, check that it's all nice and firm down, lay a little bit more track, and then we'll end with a few trains running. Next month we should be able to start assembling the station building, so it starts to pull the various bits and pieces together, and I hope to lay one more point here and start to develop the track plan further around. So, see you in July.